ago up at Fort Rupert I buried the wrong man, and even now the RCMP has not forgotten it. Don't call them cannibals. It was never true literally. No one alive has seen the famous dance in which the young man, maddened by the cannibal spirit, returns to his village crying for flesh and carrying a body taken from a grave tree. Then one evening they had tied up at the marina of Powell River where the Indian boy had been working and Caleb lived. He'll be here early in the morning, and he'll help you load the organ the local church is sending to Kingcome village. Don't be sorry for yourself because you're going to so remote a parish. Be sorry for the Indians. You know nothing, and they must teach you. And Caleb had blessed him and ambled off, bareheaded in the rain. A man whose work on the coast was so legendary that it was said the Archbishop of Canterbury greeted him by his first name, and a joke old between them. "Tell me, Caleb, how's your trapline? Any poaching?" Then he was alone in the galley and sure of the look he would see in the Indians' eyes. The tribes of the villages which would form his patrol belonged to a people that had never been at war with the white man. They lived where they had always lived. They fished as they had always fished, known for their intelligence, and a culture that was perhaps the most highly developed of any native band on the continent. In the old days, when a chief had given a great feast for his rivals, he let the fire that burned in the center of his ceremonial house catch the roof beams until the red-hot embers fell, knowing that until he gave the sign, no guest dared move lest he admit the host's fire had conquered him. When he served his guests from the great ceremonial dishes, he spilt hot grease on their bare arms to see if he could make them wince. And sometimes he broke his own copper, big as a shield, its buying power as great as 3,000 of the white man's dollars, broke it to show to his guests his disdain for his own wealth. Surely the look would be one of arrogance. In the morning he awakened early, dressed, put the coffee on to boil, and went up the ladder into the wheelhouse and out onto the deck. On the float waited the first one. He waited patiently, as if he had waited all his life, as if he were part of time itself. He was 27, perhaps, which was the age of the young vicar. He wore a fisherman's dark trousers and jacket. A pair of gum boots hung over one shoulder. Beside him were his belongings in a heavy cardboard box tied with string. The young vicar jumped down on the float. "Welcome aboard. I'm Mark Bryan," and he held out his hand. "I'm Jim Wallace," the Indian said shyly, and he took the hand with no answering pressure. There was pride in his eyes without arrogance. Behind the pride was a sadness, so deep it seemed to stretch back into ancient mysteries Mark could not even imagine, and he felt that small thrill of fear, of anticipation, which a man knows if he's lucky enough to meet and recognize his challenge. He led the way aboard. Eager to be off, the two of them worked hard, loading the organ onto the aft deck, covering it with a canvas and lashing it tight. Then they started north in a moderate swell and a driving rain, past the fishing village of Lund, past Cortez and Redonda, through the Ucolta Rapids, with Jim the Indian fighting the tide for the wheel. Just before dark they came to a lonely float in Shoal Bay. "Shall we spend the night here?" Mark asked carefully. "Shall we have supper? I'll get it." Now, on the second afternoon, in the 20th hour of passage, he stood at the wheel, approaching the first village which was to be a part of his patrol. "How soon now?" "Very soon now. First you will see Ghost Island. It is where the Indians of Guilford village once buried their dead." "In the ground?" "No, in low sheds. Most of them had fallen and broken. If you go there now, you stumble over skulls green with moss." He saw the small island, lovely as a jade jewel, and he slowed the boat and passed the village with its rare beach white with clamshells, its stretch of cedar houses facing the water, and 4 great cedar posts standing in the rain, all that was left of some ancient ceremonial house. "This is the same tribe as yours at Kingcome?" "No, but we're close relatives. Each February we come here to clam. Once the Indian agent asked us to live here because he could step easily onto the big float without getting his feet wet." "And you refused?" "No. Our old people said, 'We are going to Hollywood,' and we came. We had some fine dancing, the air filled with duck down. We saw the famous blanket trimmed with 1,000 eagle beaks, and because we are not permitted to buy liquor to serve in our own homes, the boys traded 2 masks for 3 cases of beer, and we drank it very fast and got very drunk." "And then?" "Then we returned to our